What's up, YouTube? My name is Faniki, and if you're watching this right now, I please urge you not to click away. What I have in store is important, especially if you're Kenyan. And if you're not Kenyan, then please stay because the idea that I have is transferable to your country. Well, if your country is democratic. Anyway, for those who don't know, first of all, I am Kenyan, and secondly, we as a country, Kenya, we're entering into our latest presidential elections. And according to our statistics gathered by our electoral body called the IEBC, we have hit record numbers in terms of registered voters with around 22.1 million registered voters as of now, which seems to be at first a really good number. We're just over 50 million people, so that suggests that there's a high number of political engagement in our country. Good thing. But if you look deeper into those statistics, you'll actually realize that there is a quite significant cause for concern. Around 39% of those registered voters are of people aged 35 and below, basically our youth. And if you take into account our 2019 population census, it says that over 3/4 of our population consists of people aged 35 and younger. For those statisticians who are keen out there, they're going to be like, actually, a good number of that 75% that you just stated are basically children, so they aren't eligible to vote. And that is true. In reality, 29 or 30% of those people consist of 18 years to 35 years, so people who are actually able to vote in this country. But still, it shows a telling statistic and tells a telling story that a good number of our youth population are just not interested in partaking in our politics. And why is that? Personally, this is my first elections, and I've actually been gassed about making a decision for my country, and so it is for most of my peers. So whenever I've been talking to them, just finding out why most of them are disinterested, the main reason is that most of them believe that their vote is meaningless. And after thinking about it, it is true. Our vote feels meaningless because it is. And after thinking about it and obviously finding a variety of factors, one critical reason for it is because the way we vote, the way we conduct elections here in Kenya and in most of the world actually, kinda sucks. The way Kenya votes or conducts elections, it sucks. And here's why. So here in Kenya, we use a 2-round runoff voting plurality system in which you as a voter go and tick one candidate. And whichever candidate gets the majority of the votes, which is more or less over 50%, ends up winning. In the case where there is no majority candidate, then there's going to be a second round of voting in which the top 2 candidates from the previous round of voting are the options now. So basically, whichever candidate wins gets the majority because of math, and they're the winners. Now, this form of voting has a variety of problems, starting with only allows you to express your opinion on one candidate. Let's face it, even if you're not interested in our politics, you have an opinion on at least 3 of our presidential candidates right now, if you're a Kenyan watching this video as we speak. And just because you prefer one candidate doesn't necessarily mean you hate the others. In most cases, the others might actually have ideas that you actually generally agree on. But the way we vote makes the assumption that you only prefer this one candidate, like this candidate that you picked is basically God, and everyone else is the devil's spawn. And the problem with that is that it creates an us versus them mentality that leads to tension among us voters and makes it more likely for us to go into voter violence, and we don't want to go back into how things were in 2007. Secondly, it always makes our elections turn into a 2-horse race. Because you're only expressing your opinion on one candidate, it always narrows down your options from a variety of numbers just down to 2. And because of that, it makes us voters vote out of fear, not for the candidate that we actually like, in fear of it being quote-unquote wasted, but instead for the lesser of 2 evils. So instead of voting for the candidate that we actually prefer and wants to be in power, we compromise and vote for the candidate that we don't really prefer, but would rather have over the other option that you have. which makes our vote essentially feel meaningless, and is perhaps the key reason why there's so much disinterest in politics right now. Lastly, this form of voting shuts out third-party candidates. Telling with the second point, if our elections are now two horse races, then third-party candidates basically stand no chance of winning. And the problem of it is that it means that fewer ideas have the chance of being represented, which leads to more voter frustration. An example of this is that perhaps there's a third-party candidate that comes from the northeastern side of this country and has ideas to further develop the area. And you as a voter, who also comes from the northeastern part of the country, is really supportive of this third-party candidate. But the way the system of voting works is that he or she or they don't stand a chance of winning. So in reality, the ideas that they want to express to develop your area and develop you as a person and your life and your livelihood doesn't stand a chance, which leaves you feeling left out and disinterested in our politics. Now, Finikideche, I've seen you rambling about problems for the past few minutes now. Is there any solution that you have for this? And I actually do. And that solution is for Kenya to adopt a ranked choice voting style in our elections, which essentially, instead of actually just picking one candidate, taking one box and leaving, you rank your options in order of your preference. And whichever candidate has the number one ranking essentially is the winner if you get out over 50% number one ranking. And if not, if there is no candidate that has more than a 50% number one ranking, then the candidate that is last place is eliminated and their second choices are now being added up again. So in theory, the candidate that wins is the majority first choice pick, or is a mix between most people's first picks and most people's second picks. So in reality, the candidate that wins is the one that most of the voters actually prefer. So the benefits of this is that of course it gives the third party candidates a chance, because we have removed the fear factor of us picking a lesser of two evils. And since we are expressing our opinion on all the candidates, we feel more confident in putting the candidate that we actually believe in on a higher pedestal than we normally do for others. Another thing is that it actually forces us voters to do more of our research, because a good number of us might just blindly go into the polling station, tick one box and leave. You don't really have to think much about it. But now, since you have to express your opinion on every single candidate and rank every single one of them, then it forces us as the voter to actually do some research and know what our candidates are, leaving us more educated and leaving us more informed. Lastly, this form of voting removes any tension among us voters, where it's like you're either this person or you are this person. When you go, instead when you're now ranking them, we're more or less saying, yeah, I prefer this one, then I also don't mind this one. So if this one came into power, then it won't be such a big deal, which will remove any voter animosity and will actually be better to keep the peace. And that's why I believe we should adopt ranked choice voting. And in conclusion of all of this, it's kind of disheartening seeing the level of distrust in our politics right here as a Kenyan, because essentially the government's job is to make our lives better, but we don't really trust them and the system. And obviously this form of voting is not the silver bullet to solve everything. Obviously there are many different other problems deeply entrenched in our government, mainly corruption. But I believe that this form will be a huge step for the Kenyan mankind into changing our government and changing our politics and making life as a Kenyan in Kenya a better place. And as for me, this is obviously not my idea. You can obviously research more about this form of voting. I'll put links about it in the description below where you can become more educated. I'm just the person who said the joke louder. And if you like this video, please give a like. Express your opinions in the comments whether you agree with me or you disagree with me, especially if you disagree with me. I want to see your educated arguments in the comments below. please share this idea, because I've also been speaking to a couple of educated individuals about this idea of mine, and they generally believe that it actually is pretty good, and I'm just supposed to spread the word, and that's why I'm making this video. And I've also written a 500-word article that I have sent to a newsletter here in Kenya. I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to get sued. But if you're watching this, please accept it and post it on your news outlets. Anyway, hope this thing starts a trend and starts creating more noise about it, because I actually genuinely want to adopt this form of voting. I hope I've not been rambling a bit. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please share it. Do all the things that the YouTuber says. My name is Faniki. I hope you enjoyed it. And as we head into our elections, hopefully this will be a peaceful one, and in the future, this form of voting will be adopted. See ya.